another thing happened that was pretty exciting that involved me and Ron, and that's okay, Mary Sue Hubbard. I was auditing a fairly famous football player, and we won't mention names because we don't have to. Most of the people in Scientology know who that was. Anyway, he introduced me to a fairly famous businessman in San Francisco. Okay? And this businessman had very strong connections throughout the country. And this is about 1975, okay, maybe 76. Anyway, at that time there was a big article in the Las Vegas newspaper saying that Scientology was a fraudulent, terrible, money-grabbing, terrible, couldn't do anything business, and blah, 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 blah. And it went on and on. And it was very bad for the Las Vegas organization and Las Vegas Scientologists to see such an event, that this could happen. So, as luck would have it, I was auditing this big businessman, and he had some marvelous case gain. And he said, "Is there ever anything I could do for you besides pay this little bit of money to get my health and life back?" And I said, "Well, I may be stretching the boundaries a little here, but there was a really terrible article written in Las Vegas about Scientology. And I happen to know the people there, and I think it was a terrible article, and I was wondering if through your connections you might have any connection with the owner and editor of the Las Vegas Sun." He said, "Yeah, I know him well." I said, "You do?" He said, "I'll tell you what, Phil, you come to Las Vegas next week and I'll meet you there, and we'll have a meeting with the editor and the owner, and we'll fix this up." So I thought, here's a chance to really do something to help Scientology. So, next week I go to Las Vegas, and my friend has a beautiful suite in one of the expensive hotels, and I'm being treated like visiting royalty. And a day or so later, my friend arrives and says, "We're having lunch at the blank blank. Please meet us there. We're going to talk about this problem you had." So at lunch, there's some more big business people. That's another name for a certain group in this country that is very powerful. And while we're in the middle of the lunch, my friend, who's introduced me to the owner and editor of the Las Vegas Sun, says, "Blank, what's this I hear about that rag you publish writing this terrible article about my friend's religious group?" Well, the editor of the paper, the owner, starts sweating visibly and turns very pale when the other men at this are like, "Yeah, what's the idea of screwing up Blank's favorite minister that helped him back to good health?" And this editor's like, "What are you talking about? What happened? When was this?" So my friend says, "Tell him what happened." And so I tell the editor and owner of the paper about the article, and I say it's very damaging, and there was no fair-mindedness to it, and there was no rebuttal permitted. And I would like, so he said, "Oh, okay, I think I remember that now." So my friend says, "Well, what are you going to do about it?" And he says, "I'll tell you what." He's ashen pale. He says, "You can write any article you want about Scientology at any length you want, and it will go full feature on the front page of the paper, and all you have to do is call me and fax that to me, and the day you do, the next day it will appear. Is that okay?" And I said, "Yes, that's okay." So I was practically weeping with joy, even though these men had brought terrible threatening pressure on the editor. But I thought, I don't care. He did a terrible thing, and we're going to fix it. So some months later, I let Ron Mary Sue know that through the Guardian's office, that I had the power to do this article, and they were like, Phil, it's not possible that you could really do this in the face of what is going on there. And I said, well, if I can, okay with you guys? Yes. So, next day, phone call, yes, fax. Next day, front page, Las Vegas newspaper, big friendly article correcting earlier article. And I got a big VGI, very well done, from at least Mary Sue. Okay? That's one story. You want more?
Yeah, please.
Well, this is my favorite, if I'm not being too long-winded here. But S.I. Hayakawa, who was connected with General Semantics and was one of the founder of General Semantics, Count Alfred Korzybski's foremost pupils. S.I. Hayakawa, great professor of English and early on a great general semanticist. I don't know how many people know that much of the phraseology in early Dianetics was directly taken from general semantics. The idea of A equals A and a whole bunch of things. Not to say that Ron, no. I'm just saying Ron at one point in time thought the world of the founder of general semantics, Count Alfred Korzybski. Anyway, here's the story. In later years, Hayakawa went on to become a politician, which would be counter to his general semantics background. So Hayakawa was publishing each month a terrible article about Scientology and Dianetics. And I got in touch with him to try to say, you know, you're saying things about these things that really I can summon some very intelligent and capable people. What you're saying, Dr. Hayakawa, is not true. And he was like, don't bother me. So, my current wife was married at that time to Dr. Sarge Gerbode. Okay?
Okay.
And Sarge happened to be a millionaire. Maybe I shouldn't mention names. But anyway, I got this idea that we would take a full page in the San Francisco Chronicle, which in those days cost $13,000. And on that page, we would set the record straight, including having major figures from the Stanford community, psychiatrists, doctors, engineers, famous people, including people famous in Dianetics and Scientology. And this article would be, come on, what happened to you, Dr. Hayakawa? You used to be the kind of guy that if you saw a language injustice being committed, you did something about it. What happened to you? So anyway, with a lot of help from Dr. Gerbode and a lot of other people, we went ahead and bought a full-page ad in the Chronicle and published this tremendous rebuttal. And I mean, it was an intelligently crafted and beautiful full-page thing. And then we sat back to wait to see for the bombs to explode. Well, the first bomb was from the GO. Phil, you just bypassed the GO and you're going to be declared an SP again. And who gave you the right to do this thing with Hayakawa? We were planning to put sugar... No, I better not say that. We were planning to handle this ourselves. What's the big idea? And you can't bypass the Guardian's office without being declared and expelled. You're to report to Los Angeles as soon as possible for handling. And I want that article stopped because it's going to appear in some other papers. And I said, well, you can't stop the presses. So I'm packing up my bags and getting ready to go down to get declared again. But somebody got that article to L. Ron Hubbard directly, and Mary Sue, and I get a telex saying, congratulations on our article. Love, Ron. is where I break down. When I think of what became of these people. It's very hard to have. Anyway, I hope you edit this out. They were truly the best friends I ever had. It's too much like a session. Sorry.
Well,
Anyway, I'm okay now. But that's...
yeah. There were a lot of people involved, right? But there was Ron, and there was a lot of people here, like it wasn't that easy to get to him and from him. A lot of
Very
communication
difficult.
line was screwed on the way,
Yeah.
back and forth.
So, I had expected to make my whole life Dianetics and Scientology, and I had to leave. To watch the guys in this church turn into what it did. Almost made life not worth it. Have you thought of a career as an auditor?
Hmm?
Have you thought of a career as an auditor, Tatiana? You can run secondary engrams.
Well,
This is something I don't ever want to get over, because to stop feeling about this would be to kill part of my life.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So I
Georgia.
can remain human, which I am.
Well, that's a part of the package.
You betcha. So where do we go from here, my dear?
Well,
I can do more.
you have so
you want
much
more.
there. Yes, those memories are the treasure. And if you share it with people, because now you know how it is in the church. You will never see the picture of Ron with Mary Sue, or Ron with children, or Ron being human,
Yeah.
And it's all getting lost and forgotten. It's only sitting there in memories of people like you.
I'll tell you this about what you're doing today, aside from giving me a great session. It's okay with me. I don't care who sees me weep or suffer. It's the truth. It's how I still feel.
Feel about what? The loss of what? Can you?
Yeah, the loss of this marvelous people and this marvelous idea, which was to be 3 feet behind the head of the entire planet and its people. No enemies. No enemies. No psychiatric enemy. No enemies. These are the people of Earth that we're here to help. We have no arbitraries, no enemies. We are totally pan-determined about everybody. If it's a psychiatrist that does shock treatment, that walks in the door and says, help, audit. There's no arbitraries, no enemies, nothing, except we're exterior to the planet and its people, and we're here to help. No enemies, no cruelty, no Sea Org, no fair game, no SPs, no PTS, just people with engrams and cases for us to help. No labels, no bad, no right, no wrong, no moral code. We're in business to help, not to judge. And that's what got me justice. Look at it now.